बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अस्सलामु अलैकुम। कैसे हैं आप? दिस इज लेक्चर नंबर 13। लेट्स स्टार्ट। First we take a review of previous lecture. In last lecture we discussed how we can use MS Excel software package to calculate mean, median, mode, geometric mean and harmonic mean for the group data as well as for the ungrouped data. So these are called measures of central tendency. So we have covered how to calculate measures of central tendency using MS Excel, and then we also discussed how we can calculate percentiles, quartiles and deciles using MS Excel in our last lecture. Let us discuss the objectives of the current lecture. In the current lecture we will discuss measures of dispersion, which includes range, semi-interquartile range, which is also called quartile deviation, and the mean deviations, or it is also called the average deviation. So let's start. So measures of dispersion. A value of central tendency doesn't adequately describe the data. So for example, if we want to compare two data sets, we can have the same average, that is same mean or same median or same mode in both data sets, but their individual observations in each data set may differ considerably from the average value. So this means that we need some additional information concerning with how the data are spread or dispersed around the mean or central value, which is also called the average value. So this is done by measuring the dispersion, which is called spread of the observations around the central or the average value. A quantity that is used to measure this characteristic is called measure of dispersion or measure of spread, which is also called scatter or variability. So measures of dispersion mean that we will use certain measures which are used to measure the spread of the data. And remember that measures of central tendency means to give us one single number which represents the whole data points, whereas the measures of dispersion means one single numbers which gives us the spread of each data point around the central value. So characteristics of a suitable measure of dispersion. A measure of dispersion should be in the same units as the actual observations are, and a measure of dispersion should be 0 when all the observations are same. When all the observations are same, so then it means there is no spread. We have constant number which is repeating several number of times. So it means there is no dispersion, or we have one single constant number. So the spread should be 0 when all the observations are same. And measure of dispersion should be independent of origin. If we add any number or if we subtract any number to each of the observations of the data, then the measure of dispersion should not change. It should remain same. So, and a measure of dispersion is multiplied or divided by the constant when each observation is multiplied or divided by a constant. So if we multiply each observation of the data by certain constant, or if we divide each observation of the data by certain constant, then the measure of dispersion, it should be multiplied or divided by the same constant. In addition to these 4 characteristics, it is also desirable that it should also satisfy the conditions similar to those laid down for the average or measures of central tendency, which we discussed earlier. That is, a measure of dispersion should be defined by a mathematical formula. It should be amenable to further mathematical treatment, and it should not be affected by the extreme values or outliers, and a measure of dispersion should be based on all the observations. So these are the characteristics of a suitable measures of dispersion. So next we discuss types of measures of dispersion. So there are two main types of measures of dispersion. So first one is called absolute measure of dispersion. The second one is called the relative measure of dispersion. So first we discuss the absolute measure of dispersion. So it measures the dispersion in terms of the same units or in the square of the units as the units of the data. So for example, if the units of data are rupees or meters or kilograms, etc., then the unit of measure of dispersion should also be the same. That is, if the data is measured in rupees, then measure of dispersion should also be measured in rupees. If the unit of data is in meters, so then it should also be measure of dispersion should also be measured in meters. Similarly, if the unit is kilogram, data observations are measured in kilograms, so then the unit of measure of dispersion should be same, that is kilogram. So if the absolute measure of dispersion means that it measures the dispersion in terms of same units or in squares of the units as the units of the data. So now the relative measure of dispersion. So it measures the dispersion in the form of a ratio or percentages, and hence it is independent of the unit of measurement, and it is useful to compare data of different nature. So suppose we want to compare height data with weight data, so we can compare ratios or percentages. So we can compare data of different natures using this relative measure of dispersion. So note that a measure of central tendency together with the measure of dispersion gives an adequate description of the data. Why? Because measure of central tendency, it gives us one central point which describes all the data points, such as mean. Mean gives us the average value of all the data points. And then the measure of dispersion, it gives us the spread of the observations around this mean line, around this mean value, the central point. So once we have the measure of central tendency and the measure of spread, that is the central value of the data and the spread of data values around this middle line, then it means we have sufficient information about the data. So it means a measure of central tendency together with measure of dispersion, it gives us an adequate description of the data. So main measures of dispersion. So main measures of dispersion are the range, the semi-interquartile range or the quartile deviation, the mean deviation or the average deviation, the variance and the standard deviation. Note that in this current lecture we will discuss only first three: the range, the semi-interquartile range and the mean deviation, and the discussion of variance and standard deviation will be covered in next lecture. So let us discuss the first measure of dispersion, which is called the range. The range R is defined as the difference between the largest and the smallest observation in a set of data. So just take the difference of the highest value or the largest value and the smallest value or the least value in the data. Symbolically, range is written as range equals R equals xm minus x naught, where xm is the largest observation and x naught is the smallest observation. So In case of grouped data, range is the difference between the upper boundary of the highest class and the lower boundary of the lowest class. So we can calculate the difference of upper class limit or upper class boundary of the highest class and the lower class boundary or lower class limit of the lowest class. So but in case of ungrouped data, so just take the difference of largest observation and the smallest observation. So xm minus x naught. Note that range cannot be computed if there are any open-ended classes in the frequency distribution. So suppose we have one open-end class in the frequency distribution, the first class that it is less than 10. So it means the upper limit is of the first class is 10 and we don't know the lower limit because 10 and less than 10. So this is an example of open-end classes. So open-end class. So if we have open-end class, so if any lower limit or the upper limit is missing, then the range cannot be computed. So note that range is simple to measure and it is easy to understand, but it has two serious disadvantages. Number one, it ignores all the observations available from the intermediate observations. So it only considers the extreme values, the maximum value and the minimum value, and it ignores all the observations which are lying between the max and min value. So this is one big disadvantage of using range as a measure of dispersion. Secondly, since range is based only on two extreme observations, so it might give misleading picture of the spread of the data. So suppose your data has one outlier, the max value. So suppose we have data 1, 2, 3, 4 and last value is 100. So 100 is outlier in this case. So if we take the difference of largest and smallest value, so 100 is the largest value and smallest value is 1. So if we take the difference of largest and the smallest value, so 100 minus 1 we get 99. So 99 is not giving us the correct picture of the spread of this data. So it means since this range is based on two extreme observations, the max and min observations, so that's why it does not give us the correct picture, and most of the time we get misleading results of the spread of the data. However, the range is used in statistical quality control charts of the manufactured products, and the daily temperature, the maximum temperature, the minimum temperature, and the stock prices. So we can use range in these sectors. So note that range is an absolute measure of dispersion. Its relative measure, which is known as coefficient of dispersion, is given by coefficient of dispersion is equal to xm minus x naught, the largest value minus smallest value, whole divided by xm plus x naught, the largest value plus the smallest value. So note that since it is a ratio, so it is a dimensionless number. Dimensionless means it has no unit. And it is used for the purpose of comparison of two or more data sets. We can compare two or more data sets on the basis of their coefficient of dispersion. So now let us consider examples on how we can calculate range. So here is the data. The marks obtained by 9 students are given below: 45, 32, 37 and so on up to 36. So question is, find the range and the coefficient of dispersion. So in the solution, first we will find the highest marks, which is denoted by XM. So in this list of marks obtained by 9 students, we can see that this 48 is the highest mark. So highest number is 48 and lowest marks are in this data set are the 32. So X naught is 32. So in order to calculate range, so just take the difference of highest number and the lowest number. So XM minus X naught. So 48 minus 32. So you will get 16 marks. So range is 16 marks. So now in order to calculate coefficient of dispersion, XM minus X naught whole divided by XM plus X naught. So just put the corresponding numbers. XM 48 minus X naught 32 whole divided by 48 plus 32. So we get 16 divided by 80 or 1/5, which is equal to 0.2. So this is coefficient of dispersion, which is a relative measure. So it has no unit, or it is a dimensionless number. So now we discuss how we can use MS Excel to calculate range. So let us move to the Excel spreadsheet program. So here is our data. So we have marks obtained by 9 students, 45, 32, 37, 46 and up to 36. So I have labeled the marks by X. So in order to calculate range, note that range is XM minus X naught, which is largest value minus smallest value. So it means first we find the minimum value and the maximum value. In order to find minimum value, we can use Excel built-in function, the min functions. So min C4, C12. So press enter, you will get 32, the minimum value in the list, and max C4, C12, it will give us the maximum value. So in order to calculate, range, it is the difference of max and min value. So max minus min. So 48 minus 32. So we get E5 minus E4, which is 16. So 16 is the range. So next agenda is to calculate coefficient of dispersion. So note that the formula of coefficient of dispersion is XM minus X naught whole divided by XM plus X naught. So it means we can calculate it by E5 minus E4 XM minus X naught whole divided by XM plus X naught E5 plus E4. And remember that we have to use the parentheses in the numerator as well as denominator. The parentheses are used in order to tell the Excel that first calculate this difference and get one single number for the numerator, and similarly in the denominator first calculate this sum and then divide the numerator with denominator. So coefficient of dispersion for this data set is 0.2. So this is how we can use Excel to calculate range and coefficient of dispersion. So next we discuss semi-interquartile range, which is also called quartile deviation. So before discussing semi-interquartile range, first we discuss what is interquartile range. So interquartile range is a measure of dispersion and defined by the difference between the third and the first quartiles, or symbolically we can write it as interquartile range is equal to IQR, which is used for IQR interquartile range. It is equal to Q3 minus Q1, the third quartile minus the first quartile, where Q1 is the first quartile and Q3 is the third quartile. So just calculate the difference of third quartile and the first quartile, you get the interquartile range, the range between the quartiles, and it is the difference of third and the first quartile. Now the semi-interquartile range, semi mean half. So S for semi, IQR for interquartile range, which is also called quartile deviation, QD, it is the half of interquartile range. So semi-interquartile range or quartile deviation is half of IQR. So Q3 minus Q1 divided by 2. So QD is also an absolute measure of dispersion, just like the range. So its relative measure is called coefficient of quartile deviation or of semi-interquartile range. So coefficient of quartile deviation is Q3 minus Q1 whole divided by Q3 plus Q1. And remember that since it is a ratio and it is dimensionless number, and so it has no unit, and it is used for comparing the variations in two or more data sets. So let us discuss the examples of semi-interquartile range, interquartile range, and which is also called quartile deviation, and the coefficient of quartile deviation. So let us take the same data set, the marks obtained by 9 students, 45, 32, 37, so on up to 36. So question is, find IQR, interquartile range, quartile deviation, and the coefficient of quartile deviation of the marks obtained by these 9 students. So we can calculate Q1 and Q3 using MS Excel. So Q1 is calculated to be 36, Q3 is calculated to be 45. So in order to calculate interquartile range IQR, which is just the difference of Q3 and Q1, so 45 minus 36, we get 9. So 9 marks. In order to calculate quartile deviations, it is the half of IQR, that is Q3 minus Q1 divided by 2. So Q3 minus Q1 is 9 divided by 2, so it is 4.5, and we have to put the unit as well, so 4.5 marks. Now in order to calculate coefficient of quartile deviation, which is Q3 minus Q1 whole divided by Q3 plus Q1, so this is calculated as 45 minus 36 divided by 45 plus 36, so we get 9 over 81 or 1 over 9, or it is 0.11. So it is a pure number, or it is called dimensionless number, so it has no unit. So let us move to the MS Excel in order to calculate these numbers, IQR, Q1, Q3, IQR, QD, and coefficient of quartile deviation. So here is the same data set. I have labeled it as X. So marks obtained by 9 students, 45, 32, and it goes up to 36. So the 9th student, he got 36 marks. So first we calculate Q1 using Excel built-in function, which is quartile V4 to V12. This is the array, and then after comma 1 mean the first quartile. So press enter, we get Q1. And similarly, in order to calculate Q3, just type the quartile function V4, V12, the same array, and then after comma 3. 3 is the quart or required quartile. So this will give us the third quartile. So once we have these two quartiles, we can calculate IQR, which is interquartile range. So it is the difference of third quartile and the first quartile. So Y5 minus Y4, Y5 is the cell address of Q3 and Y4 is cell address of Q1. So Y5 minus Y4, it means Q3 minus Q1. Press enter and the IQR is 9. So in order to calculate quartile deviations, it is half of this IQR, that is Q3 minus Q1 divided by 2. So it means this 9 divided by 2. So or Q3 is located in Y5 and Q1 is located in Y4. So Q3 minus Q1, that is Y5 minus Y4 whole divided by 2. Press enter, you get 4.5. So last one is coefficient of quartile deviation. So in order to calculate coefficient of quartile deviation, it is Q3 minus Q1 divided by Q3 plus Q1. So here Y5 minus Y4 divided by Y5 plus Y4, and remember that Y5 is Q3, Y4 is Q1. So press enter, so we get coefficient of quartile deviation, which is 0.11. So this is how we can use MS Excel to calculate IQR, quartile deviation, and coefficient of quartile deviation. So next we discuss mean or average deviation. The mean deviation or the average deviation of a set of data is defined as the arithmetic mean of the absolute deviations measured either from the mean or from the median. Remember that the deviations mean the gap or difference. So absolute mean just considering only the positive values. So deviations measured from mean just take the difference of each observations from the mean value, or deviations measured from the median mean just take the difference of each value from their median. So absolute deviation mean just take only the positive values. So just take the deviations and then take the absolute value of the deviation. That is, if some of the deviations they are negative, so we will take absolute value and we will convert the negative values to the positive values. And then if we take the arithmetic mean of these absolute deviations, we get the mean deviations. So here is the formula for the computation of mean deviations from mean for the ungrouped data. So for sample data, mean deviation is summation xi minus x bar whole over n. So where I ranges from 1 to n. So look at this formula and note that the x bar is the mean of all the observations. So x bar is being subtracted from each xi. So when I is 1, so x1 minus x bar, when I is 2, x2 minus x bar, I is 3, x3 minus x bar, and so on. When I is n, so xn minus x bar. So x bar, which is arithmetic mean, it is being subtracted from all the observations from x1, x2, and so on up to xn. So subtracting mean from each observation is called the deviations. So x minus x bar is actually it gives us the deviation. And if we take these two vertical lines, they are used to represent the absolute value. So this means absolute value of xi minus x bar, and then we are taking sum of these absolute deviations divided by total number of observations. So sum of values our n, it means sum of deviations our n. So it means we are taking arithmetic mean of the absolute deviations. So this is called mean deviation. So this is for sample data. But if we are dealing with population data, so we will replace this x bar, which is usually used to denote sample mean, with the population mean mu. So and we will also replace this small n, which represents the total number of observations in the sample, with big N, which is used to represent total number of observations in the population. So this is the formula for calculating mean deviations or average deviations from mean for the ungrouped data. For sample data, summation xi minus x bar our n, absolute value of summation xi minus x bar our n, and for population data it is sum of absolute value of xi minus mu, the population mean, divided by capital N, which is the total number of observations in the population. So remember that this is in each formula for sample data or for population data, we have subtracted the sample mean x bar or the population mean in order to calculate the deviations. But if we replace x bar with median, so then we can get the mean deviation from the median. So here is the formula for computation of mean deviation from median for the ungrouped data, and for sample data the formula is xi minus median. So it means now we are taking the deviations from median instead of mean. So because we are subtracting median from each observations, and in the end we have to take the absolute value by putting these two vertical bars, and then we have to add up all these deviations divided by n. So it means we are taking arithmetic mean of absolute deviations taken from median in this case, and divided by small n. Small n is the number of observations in the sample. And for population data the formula is same. We have to replace this median is calculated from sample data, and here this median will be calculated from the population data, and divided by capital N mean the total number of observations in the population. So these are the formulas for calculating mean deviations for the ungrouped data, mean deviations from mean and mean deviations from median. So now we provide the formula for the computation of mean deviation from mean for the grouped data and mean deviation from median for the grouped data. So first we discuss how to calculate mean deviation from mean for grouped data. So for sample data, mean deviation is summation fi into xi minus x bar whole divided by summation fi, and the range of I is from 1 to n. So since we are dealing with grouped data, so f is the frequency and fi are the corresponding frequencies. F1 is the frequency of the first class, F2 is the frequency of second class, and Fn is the frequency of last class, and x bar is the mean and xi are the midpoints. And similarly for population data we have the same formula, with just x bar is replaced with the population mean mu. And remember that here x bar, which is sample mean, it is calculated by the mean, the formula for the mean for the grouped data, which is x bar equals to summation fx divided by summation f. So it means first we have to calculate this x bar, and then we have to subtract x bar from each x value, and then we have to take the absolute value. So once we have this function, this x minus x bar, the absolute value, then we have to multiply this absolute value with f, and then we have to calculate the summation f into xi minus x bar, and then we have to divide this summation with the total frequency, which is summation fi. And now computation of mean deviation from median for the grouped data is instead of this mean, just replace the formula, replace the mean with median. So xi minus x bar, so we now have mean deviation is equal to summation fi into absolute value of xi minus median divided by summation fi. So we have to subtract median instead of mean in order to calculate mean deviation from median. And remember that here xi's are the midpoints, which are also called class marks, and fi are their corresponding class frequencies. So note that mean deviation is an absolute measure of dispersion. So its relative measure of dispersion is called coefficient of mean deviation, which is defined as coefficient of mean deviation is mean deviation divided by mean. This formula is used when this mean deviation is calculated by calculating the deviations taken from mean, and if the mean deviation is calculating by taking the deviations taken from median, then the coefficient of mean deviation will be, it is mean deviation divided by median. So if the deviations are taken from mean, then in order to calculate coefficient of mean deviation, we have to divide the mean deviation with mean. But if the deviations are calculated from the median, then the coefficient of mean deviation will be equal to mean deviation divided by median. So since it is a relative measure and it is ratio of two quantities, so it is a dimensionless or unitless number. So we can also use the coefficient of mean deviation to compare the variation in two or more than two data sets. So now we discuss an example in order to explain the mean or average deviation. So we are considering the same example, the marks obtained by 9 students, 45, 32, 37 up to 36. So question is, calculate mean deviation from mean and mean deviation from median. So here is the data. So in the first column we have data for x, I have labeled it as x, 45, 32, 37 up to 36. So here is our data. So since it is ungrouped data, so first we calculate the arithmetic mean. So note that arithmetic mean for ungrouped data is x bar, which is summation x over n. So it means we have to add up all these x entries, 45 plus 32, 37, 46, 39, 36, 41, 48 and 36. So here is the sum of all numbers. So sum of all numbers is 36, sum of the marks of 9 students. So this is summation x. So this is summation x, which is 360. So since mean is called x bar, it is summation x over n. So summation x is 360 divided by n, which is total number of students. In this case we have marks of 9 students, so 360 divided by 9 we get 40. So mean is 40. So next we calculate the median. So in order to calculate median, we need to arrange this data set. So let us arrange this data from lower value to the higher value. So here is the sorted data. So we can see that we have 9 marks. So the middle is 39. So 39 is our median. So median is 39 for this ungrouped data. So now we are interested in finding mean deviation from mean and mean deviation from median. Remember that the formula for calculating mean deviation from mean is, it is summation absolute value of xi minus x bar whole over n, and for median we have summation absolute value of xi minus median divided by n. So now in order to calculate mean deviation from mean, we need to subtract this x bar, which is 40, from each observation of this x. So this is So construct a new column x minus x bar. So x is 45, this first observation, minus x bar, which is calculated as 40. So 45 minus 40, we get 5. Then next x, which is 32, minus x bar 40. So 32 minus 40, we get minus 8. So on. This is 37 minus 40. This is 46 minus 40. This is 39 minus 40. And similarly, we have 36 minus 40 and so on. So we can calculate x minus x bar. So once we have x minus x bar, so now look at this formula, we need to calculate the absolute value. So in next column, calculate x minus x bar and the their absolute value. So absolute value mean just change the negative number to positive number. So this 5 as it is, so absolute value of minus 8 is plus 8. Absolute value of minus 3 is plus 3. Absolute value of plus 6 is same as 6. So the objective of absolute value function is that it changes the negative numbers to positive numbers while keeping the positive numbers as it is. So we have x minus x bar, the absolute value. So now in this formula we need to take this sum. So add up all these numbers, 5 plus 8 plus 3 up to 4. So this sum is 40. So this is summation xi minus x bar. So instead of this number, write 40 divided by n. N is 9. So 40 divided by 9, we get 4.4 marks. So mean deviation taken from mean is 4.4 marks. But now if we are interested in calculating mean deviation from median, so then we have to subtract median from each x observations, from each xi's. So construct a new column x minus median. So x is 45 and median is 39. So first is 45 minus 39. So we get 6. Similarly here, as far as the second observation is concerned, we have x, which is 32, minus median 39. So 32 minus 39, we get minus 7 and so on. So these are the deviations taken from median. In next step, take the absolute value, x minus median and the absolute value. So in this column, just change negative numbers to positive and keep the positive numbers as it is. So 6 as it is, minus 7, change it to plus 7, and change minus 2 to plus 2 and so on. And in the end, in order to calculate mean deviation, we need to calculate this sum. So summation absolute value of xi minus median divided by n. So just take the summation. So it is 39. So this is summation x minus median, so which is 39. So 39 divided by n, which is 9, we get 4.3. So 4.3 marks is the mean deviation taken from median. So this is how to calculate mean deviation taken from mean and mean deviation taken from median for the ungrouped data. So next is to calculate coefficient of mean deviation from mean and coefficient of mean deviation from median. Remember that coefficient of mean deviation from mean is equal to mean deviation divided by mean. Mean deviation is calculated as 4.4 divided by mean, which is 40. So 4.4 divided by 40, we get 0.11. So this is a pure number and it has no unit. So 0.11 is coefficient of mean deviation from mean. So next, coefficient of mean deviation from median. So it is equal to mean deviation divided by median. So mean deviation is calculated as 4.3, and remember that this is the mean deviation which is calculated from taking deviations from median divided by median, which is 39, so we get 0.11. So coefficient of mean deviation from mean and mean deviation from median is same in both in these two cases, so we get 0.11 in each case. So next we discuss an example of calculating mean deviation from mean and mean deviation from median using grouped data. So calculate mean deviation of the following frequency distribution. So we have the weights in grams and the frequencies. So we have this frequency distribution of weights of different students. So 65 to 84 grams, there are 9 students whose weight lies within this range, and there are 10 students having weight from 85 grams to 104 grams, and there are 5 students having weight 185 grams to 204 grams. So we are interested in calculating mean deviation for this frequency distribution. So remember that in order to calculate mean deviation, its formula is summation Fi into xi minus x bar and its absolute value. So summation Fi into absolute value of xi minus x bar whole divided by summation Fi. So it means in order to calculate this mean deviation, first we need to calculate this x bar, which is the arithmetic mean in this case. And remember that arithmetic mean in case of group data is summation Fx divided by summation F. So it means first we need to calculate summation F, the sum of frequencies, which is 60 in this case, and then we need to calculate summation Fx. So x is the midpoints. So first calculate a column, first calculate the midpoints, which is also called class marks. So midpoint is the sum of lower and upper limit divided by 2. So 65 plus 84 divided by 2, we get 74.5, and so on. So next multiply f with x. So 9 with 74.5, we get 670.5, and so on. And in the end we have summation Fx. So once we have this thing, we can calculate mean, which is x bar. It is summation Fx, which is 7350, divided by summation F, which is 60. So we get 122.5 grams, which is the arithmetic mean in case of grouped data. So now we have this x bar in hand. So next step is to calculate the deviations. So x minus x bar. So we have to subtract this 122.5, which is arithmetic mean, from each of the observations. So xi minus x bar. So it means we need to subtract this x bar, which is 122.5, from each of these x entries: 74.5, 94.5, 114.5, and so on. So here we have new column x minus x bar. So in order to calculate x minus x bar, we need to subtract this mean, which is x bar, calculated as calculated to be 122.5. So we have to subtract this 122.5 from each x value. So 74.5 minus 122.5. So we get minus 48. Similarly, 94.5 minus this mean value 122.5, we get minus 28, and so on. In next column, calculate the absolute value, x minus x bar and the absolute value. So minus 48 will be changed to plus 48, minus 28, its absolute value is plus 28, minus 8 is changed to plus 28, plus 12 will remain same, plus 12, and so on. So in the end, multiply f with x minus x bar, absolute value of x minus x bar. So it means multiply this 9 with 48. So we get 9, 4, 32. So next multiply this 10 with 28. We get 280, and so on. In the end, since we are interested in calculating mean deviation, so remember that mean deviation for group data is summation fi into absolute value of xi minus x bar divided by summation fi. So calculate this summation fi into x minus x bar, xi minus x bar. So this is 1696 is summation fi into absolute value of xi minus x bar, and this one is summation fi. So once we have both numbers, the numerator and denominator, we can calculate mean deviation using this formula. So just put the corresponding values in this formula. So we get 1696 divided by 60, so we get 28.27, and the unit is grams. So the mean deviation is 28.27 grams. So remember that this is the mean deviation, which is calculated by taking deviations from mean. We can also calculate mean deviations from median. In that case, instead of subtracting x bar from each value, we need to subtract median from each value of x. So it means in that case, first we need to calculate median for the grouped data. So this is an exercise for you, you should try it. So first calculate median for this data. So once you have the median, then in this next step, subtract median instead of x bar from each x value. Then take the absolute value of x minus x median, x minus median, and then multiply the frequency with the absolute value of x minus median. And in that case, this formula will be summation fi into absolute value of xi minus median divided by summation fi. So this is an exercise for you. So that's it. This is how we can calculate mean deviation or average deviations for the grouped data. So we can use Microsoft Excel to calculate mean deviation for grouped data as well as for the ungrouped data. Here we have the same data set, the marks obtained by 9 students. So we are interested in calculating the mean deviation of this ungrouped data. So note that the formula for calculating mean deviation is summation x minus x bar, summation absolute value of x minus x bar divided by n. So it means in order to calculate this mean deviation, first we need to calculate this x bar, which is the arithmetic mean, and then we have to subtract this x bar from each x values, and then we have to take the absolute value and then the sum of these absolute values and divided by n in order to get mean deviation. So first step in calculating mean deviation is to calculate x bar. So in order to calculate x bar, we can calculate the total, which is obtained by using the sum function. So sum of F4 to F12, press enter. So we get 360. In order to calculate mean, so mean is summation x over n, where n is the total number of observations, 9 in this case. So mean is 40. So we have this x bar in hand now. So it means we have to subtract from each x value this 40, which is x bar. So here construct a new column, x minus x bar, and here put an equal sign. This is x minus x bar. So in x bar we have F15, and since we have to subtract this F15, which is one single number, from each of these cells, so I am going to fix it by putting the dollar signs. So $F $15. So remember that this dollar sign is used to fix this particular cell. So $F $15 mean we are fixing this cell. So F4 minus F15. So now take your mouse cursor to bottom right corner, copy it down. So you can see that due to this dollar, this F15 remains same, but this F4 changes to F5. In next cell we get F6, but is this F15, which is mean, it remains same. So this is how to calculate x minus x bar. These are called the deviations, and there is one very important rule, that property, that sum of deviation taken from mean is 0 always. It means if we take the sum of all these numbers, this must be 0, or in other words, summation x minus x bar is 0. So in order to confirm it, just take the sum. So sum of the numbers in G4 to G12, press enter. So this is 0. So if it is different from 0, it means you did certain type of mistake. So this is one checkpoint. So in next step we need to calculate the absolute value. In Excel we have the absolute value function, ABS, and then within parentheses the required cell number G4. So absolute value of 5 is 5, copy it down. Absolute of value of minus 8 is plus 8, copy it down throughout. So we get the absolute values of each functions. So now copy this sum command towards right. So in order to get sum of all these numbers, so this gives us the sum of absolute deviations taken from mean, or summation absolute value of x minus x bar. So we get this numerator summation x minus x bar, absolute value of x minus x bar. If we divide this 40 with n, which is 9, we can get arithmetic mean for this ungrouped data. So just put an equal sign and then this number divided by 9. So this will give us mean deviation taken from mean. So this is the mean deviation taken from mean. So if you are interested in calculating mean deviation from median, so here calculate median as well. So we have the Excel built-in function. So median is the built-in function, and here we have to provide the range of these x entries. So this will give us the median of the numbers in F4 to F12, so which is 39. So here construct a new column, x minus median. So subtract the median from each x values, and remember that we have to fix it by putting the dollars. So $F $17, copy it downward and then take the absolute value. So x minus median. So for calculating absolute value, use the absolute value function. So since there is no negative value, so we can calculate this number. So calculate the deviations from median. So put an equal sign, x minus the median. So median is in F16. So we fix it by putting the dollars. So median is 6, copy it down. So we get the deviations, and in next column take the absolute value. So ABS absolute is the function for finding absolute value. So ABS of I4, absolute value of 6 is 6, absolute value of minus 7 is plus 7, and so on. So this is how to calculate absolute value of x minus median. So in next step, in order to calculate mean deviations, take the sum of all the numbers and divide this by n. So mean deviation from median, it is equal to this sum, which is 39 divided by n, which is 9, so it is 4.33. So this is how we can use MS Excel to calculate mean deviations. So let us take the review of the main concepts which we have covered today. So in today's session we discussed measures of dispersion, and we discussed range and semi-interquartile range, which is also called quartile deviation, and mean deviation or the average deviation. And we have also discussed how we can use MS Excel to calculate these measures of dispersion. In the next lecture we will study measures of dispersion, and in particular we will discuss the variance and the standard deviation. We will also discuss coefficient of variation, and we will discuss some of the properties of variance and standard deviations, and we will also discuss the moments. So till then, Allah Hafiz.